This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better media host or looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month free. And with that said, enjoy the show.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Les habla el cero miedo de la lucha libre, Pentagon Junior, para mandar un saludo a todos mis amigos de este podcast. Y ya saben, puro cero miedo.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. Actually, this is our Patron Mailbag series, and this is episode number 3. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and I'm very excited today, Nick, because we're going to get some more questions from our patrons, and we're going to answer them to the best of our ability, which is questionable considering that I'm still half asleep, even after doing our regular show. But this will be, I love doing this. This is always one of my favorite times of the week, is to get the questions from our listeners, from the people who have gone to patreon.com/BWO and signed up to be on one of our tiers of Patreon and are interacting with us and helping us, and it's awesome, and I love it. And thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you very much, and thanks for joining us here live on YouTube. For those of you in the chat, what is up, everybody? Thanks for coming back. I hope you enjoyed the main show. But yes, thank you for joining us right here, youtube.com/bustedwideopen. If you're not joining us, you're missing out on some extra good times hanging out in the chat with us live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on our YouTube channel, live all the time for everything now that we are in this new era. So the industry's going through the shift. We're going through a shift. And part of that shift is this new dedicated series to what we used to call our listener questions, now known as the Patron Mailbag, where we're doing a weekly standalone show for all of the listener questions coming in from our patrons. And thank you guys for the feedback so far. We have absolutely loved it, and it sounds like you guys are loving this as well. Ian, we have a piles and piles of questions to get through today. It is very good. Yes. We definitely want to make sure that we spend some time on these listener questions. It's part of the reason that we're breaking the series out on its own. So how about we just dive right in and get started? Kicking things off with Jacob Uhas. With guys like David Starr and even in Chris Jericho, it seems like more people are including shoot elements into promos. At what point is it too much? On one hand, it adds to the story, but it can also take me away from it. What are your thoughts there?
That's tough because, I think that they started doing having shoots in promos has been something that's been going on for a long time, and it's only increased as kayfabe has died. And obviously the biggest modern one is CM Punk's pipe bomb.
Sure.
Is the biggest, quote unquote shoot promo. But it is something that has been used for a long time. Paul Heyman liked to turn to the camera and go, that's a shoot. I remember back when they were doing the ECW one night stands, he was trying to do shoot promos and stuff. But yes, now they're getting to be more and more prevalent as people are trying to find the new level of meta kayfabe that needs to exist now in this world of ubiquitous cameras and, blurring, the lines are no longer
social
blurred,
media.
Social media, everything else. So for me, it's the way I would describe this is kind of like it was a Supreme Court justice. It was Potter Stewart in 1964 when it was a case about obscenity. And he said his definition of obscenity was, I'll know it when I see it. And that's pretty much my definition for when a shoot promo goes too far, is sometimes you can just, go completely off the rails and it's awesome. And other times you can go the same amount of distance into shoot territory, and I'm like, oh, no, shut up. No, it's just in the delivery. It really is. You can have a feud between Cena and Rock, and they get really shooty on each other, and it's entertaining and as hell, or CM Punk and Rock. But then you turn around and Roman Reigns and Cena, and it's just awful, and they do the same kind of things, right? Same kind of fourth wall breaking. So
right.
So that's really my metric for it is I'll know it when I see it. It's really got to be. It really depends entirely on the promo, who's doing it, how they're doing it, what they're doing it about. I can't just say, well, it has to have these factors, or it can't have these factors for it to work or not work. So,
yeah,
that's my response to it. I don't know. Do you have a different one?
No, it's mostly in line with yours. I look at the difference between, like you mentioned, Punk and Rock, or is some of the older ones between, Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon. They would jab at each other quite a bit. So those were entertaining as hell, and frankly, it's one of the things that put Stone Cold on the map. It was the very things that you're calling out. Was him taking jabs like that. So, yeah, I think there's certain when it's cringy. When you're going, I don't believe it. Was that scripted? Is that coming from the heart? Those kinds of questions that you ask yourself instinctively are when you know that it's probably a little bit over the line, or maybe not apropos for what they're doing in this back and forth that they're doing. So yeah, I don't know. At what point is it too much? That's going to be different for every single person, Jacob. That's my answer to you. That is a completely subjective kind of feeling. Some people really like that stuff. Some people are a little more cringy kind of stuff. I think Ian and I share the same kind of perspective on it. Sometimes it works with the right talent, with the right people, with the right hand working the mic, but with the wrong person, it can be awful. So, anything else you want to add there, Sir Ian Dangerous?
No, sir. I said my piece on that. That's
all right.
I got nothing else.
Jacob, thank you very much for your question and for your patronage, sir. I really appreciate it. Next up, Champ, Andy Jessup, showing up with the question, how do you feel about the at referee's discretion mantra that AEW has? I'm not sure what he's referring to here, because we see that everywhere.
Well, but they're really pushing it in AEW. They're really pushing the ref discretion in AEW, and that's actually the aspect of it that I like the most, is that they're pushing it, right? As you said, they do it everywhere. We just saw it happen in WWE, and it got absolutely crapped on at the end of the Hell in a Cell match with Seth and Bray, right? Yeah. They even, during the Kenny Omega and Joey Janela match, think about the difference here, okay? In the Joey Janela Kenny Omega match, they kept the commentary kept pushing. The referee will use his discretion if he thinks it's gone too far and they can't continue or shouldn't continue. They kept pushing that. That was like the big thing they were pushing throughout the entire match.
But wasn't it also an unsanctioned dark match? Like they made a point to call that out too.
It's still the point that they said that they were pushing the narrative that if they need to stop this match, it's up to the referee if he feels like someone is genuinely in danger, right? They've made that a major storyline. If you had pushed that as the major storyline in that Hell in a Cell match, where we were aware that at any time if the referee felt like either of them had done something that endangered the life of the other person, that he would stop the match, then people wouldn't have been mad at Seth Rollins or Bray or Vince. They'd have been like, that stupid ref called the match too early. You shouldn't have called the match in a Hell in a Cell, because then we know it's part of the story, because it's being sold to us as the story, right? That's the difference. That's the difference between referee discretion being pushed as an angle and having it be something that they just rely on when it's convenient.
Right.
If you push it as they are, as a story. In Japan, Kevin Kelly does a great job of doing this as well, where they're outside, scrambling around and doing stuff outside, and you're wondering, why isn't the ref doing the 20 count? And Kevin Kelly will say, well, this is why. And he'll do like kind of that William Regal kayfabe explanation of why that's the case.
Right.
That's all it is. It's a kayfabe explanation why things are happening that really shouldn't happen, but okay, we'll let it go because referee discretion. Should it be used all the time? Absolutely not. It could be a crutch that can be fallen back on way too quickly, way too easily, and people will get sick of it. But in certain circumstances, man, is it a really good thing to have, as long as you push that it exists.
I think.
What do you think? Do you think it's too much?
No, I don't. I actually like the referee's discretion as well. The thing that does stick in my craw a little bit that happens across the board is that, referee distraction. It's just a trope at this point that you just roll your eyes at. Somebody climbs up on the ropes that's not in the match and distracts the referee because he's trying to get him off the ropes, and somebody goes for a low blow. And it used to be fine. It just happens so often now. It becomes certain groups' shtick that they do all the time. Like, when there's somebody ringside, there's going to be a distraction. They're going to distract the ref. They're going to get a hit in. Like, at this point that that's the whole point of them being out there. And I feel like that killed some of the mystique of being able to sneak one in as a heel whenever the off chance that happened. Now it's just an expected kind of thing. So I like referees' discretion. Give them the power of the match back. Right, let them have that control of the match and let them decide what is too far as far as hits go and stuff like that. But the thing that I get annoyed with is that, the referee was distracted. He didn't count soon enough. He got in the low blow while the referee wasn't watching, so the other person could win the match. Okay, that's where I get a bit of it. It's just that it's used too much, and I don't want to see referees' discretion used too much. That's all. That's where I would fall in.
Agreed. Don't use it too much.
Yeah.
Completely agreed.
Thank you very much, Champ. Looking forward to seeing your title defense coming up at Survivor Series here in about a month. Let's see. Next up, we got a couple from Billy. He says, Nick, you're in charge of AEW. Ian, you have NXT. You need one guy to put you over the competition. Taking into account ring work, PR, public image, character work, and merchandise, which of these three would you sign to change the game and turn the tide in your favor? Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, or Marty Scurll?
Oh man, who gets to go first? Do you have a coin or something we can flip?
Oh yeah, hang on. I've got the handy dandy Stone Cold button, right?
Oh my. Okay.
Yep.
You flip it. I'll call it. I'll call pin. I'll call pin, not Stone Cold Head.
It is pin.
Yeah, Will Ospreay all day long. Not even a question, not even a pause. Will Ospreay.
For NXT especially, I 100% agree with you.
Give him to me either one. Will Ospreay all day long. I love me some Marty Scurll. Y'all know Marty Scurll is my boy. And Zack Sabre Jr. is a world-class talent. But if you're talking about like what you're saying here, which is
I'm going to sit the company on this guy's shoulders.
Public image, public relations, character work, merchandise, Will Ospreay. I think as far as like merchandise and character work, I think Marty Scurll's got him with like the villain stuff. The villain stuff you're going to get the merchandise, Nick. But I think that Ospreay is, if he were not in Japan and you were in a company where you could just let him go, forget it. That guy is a top star.
Yeah.
If not the top star.
I'm going to make an argument for Marty Scurll, basically just what you said. He's got the following. He's got the fan base. It's built in. He's turnkey. I know he's a good worker. He's got a very unique style in the ring. I'm calling out his moves and just that character work that he does in the ring in the middle of a match is unique to him, I believe. So I like Marty Scurll. If I was choosing someone to be a heel in that position, it's interesting because you want all of that stuff, but you also want to sit the company on their shoulders and have them run with it. That kind of limits it to Will Ospreay in your three choices. You have to go with that. If you wanted somebody that could do all of those things without that stipulation, I think Marty Scurll might be a better one there because of the built-in stuff that already exists. But yeah, either one, any of those three guys, you could build a promotion around. Absolutely. And they've kind of done it with Zach with Rev Pro. He's been that champion for so long now. He is Rev Pro. So Will Ospreay, I cannot rave enough about how excited I am after the year 2019 that he's had moving to and committing to New Japan. Watch out for Will Ospreay for the next couple of years over in New Japan. Marty Scurll, it's a matter of time before he ends up in AEW, in my opinion, with the rest of the elite. And I can't wait till the first time we hear the caw come out down an AEW ramp, because it can't be that much longer. I'm itching for it. I'm aching for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Amen.
so yeah,
Amen.
I would pick Marty Scurll.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. He followed that up with a different kind of question. He said, is Christian a Hall of Famer? Clearly, he gets in as a tag team with Edge someday. But what about as a singles wrestler? Does he get the call
They're not
to
in
the
as
Hall?
a tag team yet. I'm
Right.
sorry. I had to stop right there. They're not in as a tag team yet.
No.
That's crazy.
Or is he just in the Hall of the really good, as he put it?
This is a really simple answer to me. If Godfather's in the Hall of Fame, Christian's in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Christian's an absolute no-brainer for the Hall of Fame.
In my opinion.
It's not if, it's when. Yep. And it'll just matter about what class they want to put him in, if that's 2020 or 2024 or whatever it ultimately ends up being.
He won't be the head of whatever class he goes in. You know what I mean? He's not going to be like they always have like the number one person and they're really promoting that. He'll be like, he'll be in the sidelines, but he will go in. Especially, look how much work he's been doing with WWE as well. He's still in good with the company. He's been a champ, which is more than Godfather can say. Yeah. So that's my metric. If Godfather goes in, if Coco Beware goes in, Christian absolutely goes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah, it's when, not if.
It's when, not if.
I meant to say. Yeah,
agreed.
He had one more here. Who is a wrestler?
Damn, Billy.
Yeah, Billy was on fire this week.
All right.
Who is a wrestler you just don't like at all, as a character or in the ring? Because crap people are just crap people, and we can dislike that. But what's a redeeming quality they have that helps you respect them immensely?
Oh.
I'm not sure I understand. He's turning his own question around here, it feels like.
So who do you not like, but you still kind of respect?
Oh, okay. I can answer that question.
Okay, well, you go first then if you have it on the top of your head.
Who do I just not like, but I can respect? Shayna Baszler.
What?
Shayna Baszler. I don't like that her one thing is a clutch. Put her to sleep. Shayna Baszler.
That's not her. What? You're out of your freaking mind.
Okay. What else does she do?
I don't.
What else is she
works
known
an entire
for?
match. She only does a clutch? Are you kidding me? She's in there actually working an MMA style match.
She's a striker. I'll grant her that, sure. But I have mad
systematically
respect
takes
for
apart body parts.
Sure.
She works it like a shoot
stomps
fighter.
on arms. She's a shoot fighter, yeah.
She is one of the best hybrid pro wrestlers out there, in my opinion, in terms of being able to work an MMA style and a WWE style and a pro wrestling style all at the same time.
Sure.
What she does is way more difficult than what people give her credit for. And on top of that, her character work is fantastic.
You're going to get to go in a minute. The question was, who is a wrestler you don't like? I don't. It's not that I don't respect her. That's the point of the question. I have mad respect for her as a performer. I don't like her. Ripley, I love. Tony Storm, I love.
All right.
We know
that.
As a character in the ring, but I have mad respect for her abilities, for her title reign, for all of those kinds of things. So yeah, that would probably, that's the first one that popped up in my head when I read that question.
Oh, it hurts.
How about you, sir?
Well, obviously the first one that popped in the head for me was Taichi.
Oh, of course.
Who he drives me absolutely goddamn insane. But I'll be damned if he isn't actually a good worker. And that's actually what makes me hate him even more. Is that like he intentionally wrestles shitty. He intentionally wrestles poorly, but he's capable of going in there and putting on a good match. He just doesn't want to. And that's his character. And it makes me insane. So that's the easy one. And if I'm stuck with WWE, if I have to do WWE specifically, because that's the easy one, is Taichi. There's a couple that are like I'm on the fence about. Like Alexa Bliss annoys the crap out of me, but I truly believe she's a good person, and there are things that I think she does well, but she does bug me. I'm just trying to go down the list of.
I'll throw a Jackson Riker at you.
No, I don't respect him.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I
thought the dragging corpses out to the ramp would have gotten that from you.
He had a nice moment. That doesn't mean suddenly I'm like, never mind. I love Jackson Riker. Oh, okay. Well, forget it. Now all is forgiven, Jackie. Come on back to the side of the good. No. No. Jackson Riker and I are still not good.
Okay.
I'm gonna go down. I'm trying to go down the WWE roster and think if there's anyone that like I don't like. Randy Orton, but I love Randy Orton at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I think he's a douche, but I love Randy Orton. he's I don't know. He's like crazy Uncle Douchey at this point.
Just keep your hands out of your pants, Randy.
Well,
Yeah.
among many other things.
Right.
Watch the N-word when you're streaming your game.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Come on, man. Oh, that was a gimme. Damn, who do I not like on WWE? Mojo Rawley? No, because I feel sorry for Mojo Rawley.
Mm.
You know, it's not even a respect. It's just I feel bad for him.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
Who do I not like? Yeah, I got nothing. I got to stick with Taichi. Like everyone, on some level, like I kind of either like them or feel for them. Even Corbin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Corbin's a great heel, and you know he drives me nuts, but I know that's his job, and I think he's good at it.
Yeah, you got to respect the gimmick too. You know?
There really isn't anyone who gets in. Okay, I was gonna say Stephanie McMahon, but like maybe Stephanie McMahon, but she really does bug me so much. She might be the only person that I genuinely have heel heat for that I have a difficult time thinking my way out of. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I genuinely have a hard time appreciating or liking her outside of her heel character because I genuinely don't know where it ends. And there's so much self-aggrandizement with her and just so much of that WWE like corporateness that is integral to who she is, and just it's her in her business decisions.
No, she's crossed over at this point. She's basically, you know, I've seen several interviews with her like on business podcasts and things like that, and the charitable work and things like that. And she's still cutting promos.
Philanthropy is advertising. That's the point. That's the point where I go, screw you, lady.
She's still cutting promos on these podcasts a lot of times.
Right.
And she does talk pretty well about the dynamic between the on-screen character and the executive behind the scenes, but she's still describing herself as if she's Stephanie McMahon, Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah, I really wonder, like, there has to be. I've seen enough pictures of her backstage with people where she's out of character, and you can see that she's a genuinely good person in her eyes.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and like people speak well of her and all the rest. It's like there's no like stories out there like JBL or something where, like, you know, if you're a dick, it will out at some point. And I haven't heard that she's been a terrible person to people, but at the same time, God damn it, she drives me nuts. And she's literally one of the only people, like even Taichi, I can see around his gimmick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I even think for a couple, I'm like, all right. I have a really hard time thinking around Stephanie McMahon's gimmick. She makes it really hard for me. So maybe, but at the end of the day, like I don't genuinely hate her, because at the end of the day, I go, no. Most of this is a work.
It is.
I'm getting worked. I do respect a lot of the stuff that she does. God damn it.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Billy, for all those questions. Those were all really good. Next up, Eric. Good old Eric. With the cultural differences between the United States and Saudi Arabia, exactly how is The Fiend going to work over there?
That's is he going to have the headless lantern or the severed head lantern with the light in it? Like, how is he going to work? I wonder, because I wonder if even the WWE knows when they've crossed the line. You know? I mean, it seems to me like, again, and I may be speaking completely out of turn here, so take this with an entire salt lick worth of salt. But to me, I would imagine there's less of a problem with violence and horrific imagery in Saudi Arabia than there is with sexuality. You show Carmella in a leotard, wildly offensive and socially inappropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, the carrying a headless lantern in the land of beheadings, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But again, I don't live in Saudi Arabia. I've never been to Saudi Arabia. I know very few people from Saudi Arabia, and the ones I do know, I don't know if they've lived there long enough to really give me an answer on this. If anyone's listening to us in Saudi Arabia, on the off chance, let us know. Like, is that a problem? Would that be considered a problem?
Yeah, I'd love to know.
Yeah, honestly, Eric, this is a great question, largely because I don't have any idea. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to make him work over there, or if they're going to try to be sensitive, or if they're just going to be like, screw it, we're just going to do the gimmick and deal with the backlash.
Yeah.
But that is really the question, and the violence too. Like, Seth was coughing up blood at the end of Hell in a Cell. Everyone forgets about that because everyone was so pissed by that point. And
this is going to be a a Falls Count Anywhere match
that is unable to be stopped.
It's unable to be stopped. So there's going to be some color in this, most likely.
So wait a minute. This is a match where you could theoretically kill someone.
You have a guy carrying a severed head out to the ring that they're going to ultimately show color on.
But you can't. But Hell in a Cell, you can't try to kill someone. But you could have a last man or you could have a Falls Count Anywhere match where you could try to kill somebody. That's fine, as long as you have a Hell in a Cell match that we stopped because you tried to kill somebody and we got mad at you. But then the fans got mad, so now we're gonna let you actually try to kill somebody in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Hashtag WW Logic.
You couldn't make this shit up, man. It's so good.
I'm way too far from my bottle of whiskey right now. God.
Esme said, love how we only see Mansoor at Crown Jewel. Does he even work at WWE?
Yeah, he jobbed to somebody.
It was in NXT, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't Lars Sullivan. It was someone big like that, though.
Yeah.
Was it Lars Sullivan?
Mansoor, if you're listening, you would be a great reference. We'd love to hear what the culture was.
Oh, yeah, like he's going to tell us
something.
Well, he's going to tell us for real.
Right.
He's a company man through and through.
That's true. Eric, good question, man. That could be talked about ad nauseum.
I got to find out who Mansoor faced in NXT now. I'm dying to know.
Next up, we got.
Anyone remembers? Oh, it was Jackson Riker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it was Jackson Riker. There you go, dude.
Yeah,
your boy.
Nice. Next up, we got Lionel up, a wrestler that you would turn heel. How and what would be their heel gimmick? He said for him, it's Apollo Crews. Have him absolutely smash some guys. Give him a character outside of Smiley Hinch, athletic black guy. Thanks, guys. Like always, good freaking show.
Oh, that's
Smiley Hinch, athletic black guy.
That's too good.
Yep.
Who would I turn heel?
Well, they've ruined mine already with what they've done with Robert Roode porn stash.
Yeah.
You guys that have been listening long enough know that as soon as he got called up, I was blown away that they made him a face out of the gate.
Yeah,
and it never made sense. And I've been saying Dick heel in a suit for Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
I mean, his NXT championship run was fantastic. The way that he was just
really good.
Corporate schmarmy heel. Oh, I loved it. We haven't had a good one of those in a really long time.
You hated Roderick Strong at the time, and he was the face against Bobby Roode, and he was a great face against Bobby Roode.
Oh.
You still didn't like his promos, but you loved him as a face against Robert Roode, Bobby Roode.
Yeah. I don't know. Current roster right now, I'd have to think about that. Do you have one right off the top of your head?
I don't, because everyone that I would want to be heel is already a heel. I don't necessarily like what they're doing with all of the heels that are heels, but I'm trying to think of anyone who is a face right now that I'm like, man, that person would be so much better off as a heel. And I'm just thinking about main roster, honestly.
I mean, if I use my fantasy booking that I wrote, Big E would be an option there. To break up the New Day.
But that's kind of ripping off his idea of black hench dude going heel. But
I don't know. I didn't. Yeah.
Big E would be a great heel. I just
take him back to his goon character when he was besides Dolph Ziggler.
He's one of the few guys who I feel, as a face, has more character than he would have as a heel. Like, so many people become heels so they can show off more character and have more fun. I think Big E would be less fun and have less character as a heel, and that's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm trying to go through all of the rosters in my head. People that are currently face that should be heel.
Esme in the chat also said Big E. Mustafa Ali, she said.
No, Mustafa should be a face. I really do believe he should be.
He is. You can pull the chicken breast right off his face.
Also, there's been too many Middle Eastern heels in the past, and it would turn into a foreign heel gimmick way too quickly.
Yeah.
Absolutely keep him face. He should be a career face, in my opinion. I mean, I'd have to go all the way to Japan to think of someone who I want to turn heel, and that's Yoshihashi, because that guy, give him freaking something. He is the most boring pro wrestler who gets title shots in any promotion. This guy gets title shot after title shot, and he is about as exciting as cardboard on wheat bread. He's terrible. But if you gave him a really vicious heel persona, I think he might become interesting.
Yeah.
And I off the top of my head, across all brands, he's the only one I can think of who should be a heel. Velveteen Dream is fine being a tweener. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else. Yoshihashi. There's my answer. Yoshihashi. Make him a heel. Make him an underhanded, vicious heel. And maybe evil too. Evil should be evil, and he's not. He's a good guy. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I got to go to Japan for it.
When it does happen.
Yeah.
Awesome question. Thank you very much, Lionel. And thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it. Will James next up. How would you both feel if the match at CJ or Crown Jewel between Seth and The Fiend never actually ends? He goes on to say they have to do something with the match unable to be stopped. So what if we get a beatdown by The Fiend who just leaves, and in the coming weeks there continues to be brawls to try and end the match? Is that going to be worse or better than what you expect to actually happen?
So kind of like Curtis Axel never actually going over the rope at Royal Rumble, and Axel Mania going on for months and months.
Yeah,
kind of like that. Only the top of the card.
I still have not stopped thinking. Let me go first on this one. I still have not stopped thinking about the Hell in a Cell match. Even last night, I went to shout out to Robbie and everybody. Even last night, when we were standing in line for Halloween attractions, we went through to a haunted forest thing right here in Raleigh. We were still talking about how that ended and how we would have liked to have it ended and alternatives to how it could have ended. And the universal thing, no pun intended, that we ultimately came up with was that the Fiend needed to be the one with the ladder and the chair and the toolbox and the sledgehammer, not Seth Rollins.
Correct.
There was some weird role reversal that happened in that booking. And if
the Fiend had a giant mallet.
If he had hit him with the giant mallet, with the ladder and the chair and the toolbox stacked on top of Seth Rollins laid out on the mat to the point that he had the blood coming out, and then just had walked out of the cell, had opened the door somehow, and just, I don't even care. I'm not going to pin him. Just walk out.
You would need that moment where he actually picked up the title, looked at it, and dropped it as a way to physically show, I don't care about the title. If he just walked out, people would be booing and be like, what are you doing? You need to have that moment. And this is the same thing for the Saudi Arabia show.
Or he sets it on fire or destroys it or something like that. Right?
Yeah. Oh, man. One of the greatest title moments, and man, Lucha Underground has been on my mind a lot lately because there was so much potential there, and so many of the people from that show are now doing other things. But man, for a while there, that was the best wrestling show on TV.
Yeah.
Do you remember in the first season, they bring out the inaugural belt, and it's a little kind of crappy looking piece of crap, but it's a belt. All right, fine. We've seen worse. Cough, cough, Cruiserweight Championship, cough, cough. But they bring it out, and for a few weeks, that's the championship belt, and everyone's trying to get it, and Ricochet ultimately wins it, I believe.
Yep.
And then Brian Cage debuts. And one of the first things he does is take that crappy little belt, and he rips it in half with his bare hands to show his disdain for it. That was awesome. And then they came back out, and the main Lucha Underground title was gorgeous.
Yeah.
The one that they replaced it with was fantastic. It was gorgeous. And you realize the whole time it was a gimmick. Mwah, great. If they did something like that with that Universal Championship, shitty Play-Doh belt. If they did something like that with where Bray Wyatt, as you said, he's got Seth dead to rights. He maybe even like pins him for a second, but jumps up on the 2 and goes and gets the belt and sets it on fire as a revenge for Seth burning down the Firefly Funhouse. Oh, oh, you just saved that whole angle. You just saved Bray Wyatt. You saved Seth. Like, that would be. Are you listening now, WWE? Are you? That, Nick, yes. That would work.
It's the one thing. No matter how you book the match,
one of the things.
It's the one thing that was kind of, he needs to not, and we preached that on the show a couple of weeks now.
He needs to not care about the title.
Yeah. So the question was, how would you feel if the match at Crown Jewel between Seth and Fiend never actually ends? I think that could be hit or miss. I don't know if that would work.
It depends on
how do they not end it?
Either way, it has to stop on that show. How do they stop on that show with the Fiend walking away? As I said, if he just walks away, people are going to be sitting there going, oh, come on. There needs to be some sort of finish on the show. Even if it's a non-finish, there has to be a clear finish. And they have to be really careful about what that non-finish is, or that finish. If they have the Fiend pinned, that's a huge mistake. If they have Seth pinned and the Fiend becomes the champion, that's dangerous. We've talked about how dangerous it is to strap the Fiend this early. And if they have a non-finish, if there's no outcome to the match, then you got to be really careful about what that's going to be. The story has to be told really well, which they didn't tell. They didn't do well at Hell in a Cell.
Which we already know they're going to continue the story, where they're going to have another match, a steel cage match, right, in New York.
Well, we already know
coming up on November 4th.
Nothing important is going to happen at Crown Jewel. Nothing important ever happens at Crown Jewel. And if this is the one where they suddenly change a title or something, then people might care more next time. But they shouldn't have it be the place where titles change hands.
No.
Because people will then get pissed off. Oh, not only are you taking the Saudi blood money and putting on this big old WrestleMania caliber show for them, but then you're also having major events happen there. And all of us here who don't want to watch this show are now, you're screwing people over here again. Yeah. You're pissing on your fans in the U.S. again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have really got themselves into a corner on a lot of things right now. And it's not the time they want to be doing that. You just started on Fox. Come in with a good impression. Come in with happy fans, not fans that are within 1 week you've pissed off over and over. Kofi getting squashed. Your main event angles
on the debut.
All the MMAs. Oh my God. On your debut show, you're pissing off your fans. You're promoting people that are going to be on the show, and then you don't have them show up. You're baiting and switching them for the first show. You're squashing your babyface champ, your fan favorite champ on the first show for a guy that no one's really excited about seeing except for casuals. And then you have a pay-per-view where you piss off your fans immensely at the end of the first pay-per-view. What are you doing?
And then the next thing you do is the Saudi show.
Right. Oh my God. And then you botched the draft. The draft isn't exciting.
Let's also not overlook the fact that the Fiend was just drafted to SmackDown, but somehow Seth Rollins is on Raw. So now all of a sudden the wild card rule is back, because we're still having matches for it on I guess it's the following Monday on Raw, November 4th. So now the Fiend's coming to Raw to get the Raw Championship, even though he's on Smack.
Let me be clear. I want WWE to succeed. I want them to be good. I want them to be better.
Yes.
Right now, they're killing me. They're killing me right now.
They've been running so long without any kind of check or accountability or anything that they're just making it up as they go. That's my sentiment. And I feel like that they're on a bigger stage now with the introduction of AEW to the scene, with the introduction of a whole cast of people that have been killing it over in Japan for the last couple of years, are now on the scene in North America as well, and a big, big spotlight is on them. And this way that you can just wing it and hot shot it like you've been doing for the last decade and still be successful, I think there's going to be a lesson learned here real quick. And I think Hell in a Cell might be that first moment when your top babyface in the company is getting booed out of the building.
Oof.
So they got to fix a lot of stuff here, and it ain't just about. Look, the whole Fiend and Seth Rollins thing right now is just the open wound that everybody is seeing. There's a lot of stuff going on under that also needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I want to love them. I have loved them my entire life.
Sure.
And I'm skeptically optimistic that
Said
they'll pull it
since
off.
day one. Esmeralda is in the chat right here, and she says, "Who's the bigger fool, them for doing all this, or us for watching?" And here's my answer to that: is I think Andy Jessup last week had a question where he said, "Talk me off the ledge. I'm getting sick of WWE." And my response was, "I'm not going to talk you off the ledge. If it's getting so bad you can't watch it, I don't blame you. Stop watching. The only way they're going to change is if people hit them in their wallet and stop watching. I'm not going to stop watching, Nick, because we do this show.
Yeah.
But as I said last week, I would probably just be watching NXT and AEW and New Japan. I wouldn't be watching main roster at this point if we weren't doing this show where it's our job to watch it. And so partly I want them to get better because it's our job and I want to watch better TV, but it's partly, as you said, and this is why a lot of people still stick around with WWE, is the history, the nostalgia. We want them to be better because they're kind of part of our upbringing or childhood or whatever your reasoning is for sticking around WWE. And some people like it. Some people like this form of entertainment, and that's fair too. It's okay if you're watching this and you go, I don't like some of the stuff they're doing, but they're doing enough that's entertaining me that I don't care, that I'm fine with, or I watch it because my kids like it. Whatever your reason is, if you're still watching WWE, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine if you're still watching it. If you feel like an idiot and you're sticking around with your optimism, that's fine too. It's all fine. But at the end of the day, if I'm watching it and I'm frustrated, there's a reason to be frustrated, and there's a reason I want them to get better. And I want them to be better because they can be better. There's so many ways they could fix this, and there are obvious ways that they could fix this.
Yeah. Great question, Will. I feel like we could talk about that one again ad nauseum. You guys are asking some great questions today. Thank you for all these. Let's see. Josh is up next. Who are your early predictions? Oh, I like this one. I love doing this stuff. Who are your early predictions for the Royal Rumble winners, and who do you think would benefit the most from winning it? I have mine picked already.
Of course you do. Nick's already booked 5 years in advance in WWE, man. You would think-
in my head, I haven't written it all yet. You guys are going to get part 2, which is the second half of the year coming up. I'm thinking December, maybe January.
We're going to have the second half of the year
Royal Rumble
after the year is already done.
Yeah, we're going to go from we went up to Hell in a Cell. We just had that pay-per-view this month.
A little different than how you got
to get the back half.
Little different than how you
It worked out a little bit different, yeah. To let me know, patrons, which one would you prefer, huh?
God. All right, so
anyway,
who's
you're going to get
the
the back half soon. Anyway, who's early predictions for Royal Rumble winners? Let's go female and male here,
yes,
because we're going to have both.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
You just said you had yours picked.
Oh, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, of course. Of course you think D-Mac.
Drew McIntyre for the men.
Okay.
He did get drafted very high. That signals a pretty confident position.
We have been calling him ever since he got called at the main roster. We've been saying,
I've been picking him.
It's Drew McIntyre's time. It's his time.
Yes.
Fine.
If they bring him back and put him in another angle with Dolph Ziggler, I'm going to flip this desk upside down. I will absolutely lose it. Drew McIntyre is going to be, he's arguably one of the next 2 to 3 people in line to be one of the big champions.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if he's going to come back as a heel or if he's going to come back as a face.
Okay.
Because he was a face champion in NXT, and I want to see how that works out. If the whole Scottish psychopath was an experiment and they're going to nix it and go back to what they were doing in NXT. I've got an eye out for that. So Drew McIntyre. For the women. Somebody that I've been high on, somebody that I'm hoping is back in time for the Rumble, Ruby Riott.
Okay.
I think
so. You're doing the like realism is out the window. You're just doing like who Nick wants.
Yes.
To win this. Okay.
But I'm not saying realism is out the window.
I'm sorry. I just heard your picks. To me, it sounds like realism's out the window.
Oh, come on.
Well, here's my picks for the men. Cain Velasquez. For the women, Bayley.
Bayley's the champ.
She won't be the champ by then.
That could be okay. That's a different thing to debate, but okay. You
Or
think Bailey
actually, right now, maybe not Bailey, Sasha Banks. I'm just looking at Bailey's push right now and saying that they need to make her legit. But Sasha, one of the four horsewomen is going to win the female Royal Rumble.
That's fair. Okay.
All right. It might be Charlotte because Becky's already won one. It might be. I mean, Charlotte would be. I think if I'm being realistic, it's probably Charlotte because they have to put that accolade on her at some point because it's Charlotte. So it may be Charlotte, or they may swerve us and give it to Sasha or Bailey. But it's going to be one of the four horsewomen. As far as the men, Cain Velasquez. That's how he gets his WrestleMania main event shot at Brock Lesnar. Because screw everybody else. And I'm sorry that I hate to tell you guys that, but
that makes me hurt.
I told you before King of the Ring that King Corbin was going to be a thing. I'm now telling you Cain Velasquez will win the Royal Rumble.
That makes my heart
unless
cave into my chest.
Unless the WWE's ratings are hurting so bad by that point that they've got to actually do what the fans want, lest they get booed out of the building.
Imagine they do that.
Or they get booed out of the building.
Well, we got that last year at WrestleMania. We got what we wanted with all the face wins. I don't think they're going to do that again for a long time. We're in for a long road now. We got what we wanted first half of this year. We've seen how the back half is going.
That's what I'm saying. The other... that's the only one I can really see. Fiend would, by that point, Fiend's either going to be dead or it would make no sense to have him win the Royal Rumble. Or that because that would be really stupid. I would love, honestly, if in my perfect world, I'd agree. Drew McIntyre would be in my perfect world. That would be who I would want to win. That's who I want to win.
Give that man his title.
Give this man his money.
What was the question we had earlier? Who would we? It was about turning somebody. I'm in charge of AEW. If you put me in charge of WWE, this was Billy's question earlier. It'd be Drew McIntyre.
Oh no, we said he's the next guy. Like that was a question from long, long, long ago in listener questions.
You were the chosen one.
Yeah. I have the higher ground, Drew McIntyre. That was the question from long, long ago. Is who do we think, if not Roman Reigns? Who do we think should be the guy? Yeah. And we both said Drew McIntyre should be the guy. And people may have forgotten. People may have forgotten who Drew McIntyre really was because of his injury. But man, it really should be Drew McIntyre. Yeah. So, but who do I think it will be?
And the way they debuted him in that heel Scottish psychopath thing, go back and watch his run with Andrade Cien Almas and the other matches that he had, Bobby Roode, and all those matches in NXT. If you haven't, circa 2017, it's fantastic. Yep. And he's a giant dude. I have a picture with him. I'm 6 foot. He's got a good 10 inches on. He's giant.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to that.
And having him go toe-to-toe with a Brock Lesnar, with a Braun Strowman, with the other big guys in WWE, oh, man.
Yeah, he's in incredible shape.
I can't wait till we get there.
He can talk. He has a look. The guys love him. The ladies love him. Come on. It's all right there.
It's being handed to you
He's
on
got
a silver platter.
Sexy Scottish accent, the greatest accent in human history. Fight me.
Okay. Yeah.
Greatest accent.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Josh. Pat, did you pick? You said one of the four horsewomen. Okay.
I did.
My pick
for
the women.
Corey,
I picked
Corey,
Ruby Riott.
You
That's
did.
right.
Ruby Riott. Corey in the chat says, does Charlotte really need to win the Royal Rumble? Wrong question. That's it's nothing to do with need to. It's WWE is compelled.
Does she need 10 championship reigns her second, third year?
WWE's sitting here going, okay, what other accolade is there that we can give Charlotte? All right, we've given her 10 championship reigns, the first women's Hell in a Cell, the first. What else can we give her? What else is there?
Well, Becky got her Rumble. I guess Charlotte needs to get hers now. Yeah. I don't know.
That's what it's. That's all I see it. That's all I see it being.
The other wild card I'll throw in there for the women's is Asuka. I could see it feels like they want to bring her back now with her turn, with the poison stuff.
Does it feel like they want to bring her back, Nick? Given what you've seen so far.
Not yet, but
no,
I have a gut hunch. Tinfoil hat.
God, I wish.
And my massive markery for Asuka.
Same. Oh, dude, Nick, I am. Let me make myself clear. I am 100% with you. Asuka is my number one. Like if Drew McIntyre is who I want to win the men's, Asuka is who I want to win the women's. Completely, 100%.
We are 100% on the same page.
Will she? 0%. She will not. I hope she does.
Her YouTube channel is really fun, by the way. She makes stuff in her gravel yard in a tent, and it's fantastic. It's so innocent and pure.
Asuka's the greatest.
Last but certainly not least, Patrick, do you guys think that with these handful of Saudi Arabia shows every year, that it's the reason we have weeks of shows that seem to be just spinning their wheels? Yes.
Yep.
I feel like the Saudi shows throw all of the rhythm of the stories they attempt to tell and either have to hurry and wrap up completely or completely flounder and throw them away so they can put together random matches that they want to see that make no sense because they want their old-timers and boxers, MMA fighters.
Yep.
Yes to all of that.
Yes to all of that.
You're exactly right. It's 100% rhetorical. Great question.
And we said it on the main show this week, was that SmackDown this week was fun in kind of like a cotton candy kind of way. But it was meaningless in the grand sense, and that's really not what you want to be doing when you're trying to get people to come back and watch your show every week to boost ratings. And that's because of the Saudi show. They have nowhere to go right now. They can't start long-term storylines because they can't pay anything off in Saudi Arabia. It's terrible timing all around, and they would have to work really hard to work around it. But that's never been something that WWE wants to really do. They're just gonna, we'll get through it, we'll muddle through it, and they'll keep watching. So yeah, I agreed. That's absolutely what's happening right now. I hope that they have some idea of what they're doing after Saudi Arabia, but I get the feeling that aside from this is the crazy thing. We just did a damn draft where, the big important thing, all right, well now everyone's on two different brands, they're competing, you'll never see matches between these guys again. And yet Seth and Bray are still feuding, and we have Survivor Series in a month where they're going to go head to head in direct competition. The timing is awful all around here.
Yeah.
All around.
It's
crazy.
So bad. Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey, breaking news. Last minute, we did get one more question from one other patron, Esme Standing Bear.
Yes.
We said she could throw hers in the chat real quick.
Yeah, I've got mine right. I got it written down right.
She asks, there's a lot of urban legends in wrestling. What are your favorites, and which do you think are true? See, I don't know what this list of urban legends are.
Oh,
what do you mean by?
Oh, there's a bunch of like weird little things that might like was Bret Hart actually sleeping with Sunny, or
did he actually punch out Vince McMahon in the locker room after the screw job?
Right. Was Hulk Hogan's black eye in WrestleMania 10 or 11, whatever it was, where he sweeped in and beat Yokozuna for Bret Hart? Was that black eye because Macho Man punched him because he thought he was hitting on Elizabeth? Stuff like urban legends like that kind of thing. Like do you have any that is your favorite? Because I have mine, the one that I just I can't get over. I can't stop thinking about. Well,
I've heard several different retellings of the screw job and what happened immediately afterwards. Anywhere from Shawn Michaels being just completely beside himself, bawling like a baby,
right,
to I think it was Pritchard's interview that I heard his retelling where he told Vince that he had to go into the locker room and talk to Bret,
right,
and Bret was in the shower and Vince stood there until Bret got done with his shower, and then Bret just came out. And Vince got in his face, and Bret just uppercut him and knocked him out.
Yeah,
that's probably the fallout in general of the Montreal Screwjob. With Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. I think that's probably there's so many things that happened off the back of that we'll never really know what actually happened because there's 10 different retellings from 10 different people. And I that kind of juicy gossip, it kind of lives in the urban legend landscape.
Yeah, and
so that's probably my favorite.
That is a good one. So there's a couple, and for whatever reason, for me, most of mine involve poop, but so there's urban legends that I don't want to be true. Okay, there's ones that I've heard that I hope they're not true. Like Pat Patterson molesting people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be true. I know that he had lots of relationships with guys over the years, but I want it to be all innocent and consensual. I don't want Pat to be like abusing young up and comers and getting sexual favors for pushes and that kind of thing. Like, I don't want to think about that.
Right.
Ironically, so Esme has actually taken the one I was initially going to say, which was Macho Man deflowering a very young Stephanie McMahon. That's just like one of my favorites that I can never get out of my head. That the reason why Macho Man isn't in the Hall of Fame is because Vince never forgave him for hooking up with Stephanie when Stephanie was really young. That's one that just like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, but then why wouldn't he be in the Hall of Fame? Vince has let everybody else back into the circle. Why else would he be so mad at Macho? Like, I can't stop, and then we'll never know. We'll never officially know unless for some ungodly reason Stephanie comes out and says it, but why would she ever do that? Like, all the parties are not going to talk about that. So, but Esme,
not in 2019.
Esme stole that one from me over there in the chat. So now I've got to like think of another one. But again, like I said, most of the ones that I know of involve poop, like the fact that urban legend Sid pooped himself during the match with him and Taker at WrestleMania 13. Like, that's an urban legend. And Undertaker beat him with a tombstone. So think about that. Rikishi is famous for like having pooped himself when he's giving people the stink face. Like, he wouldn't wipe and he'd come out and give his people the stink face. Like, that's
sorry.
Literal
stink face.
It has been confirmed that he would fart on people during the stink face. Has not been confirmed that he wouldn't wipe. That's an urban legend. But the number one poop urban legend that I know of, that I really
this is a whole new side of you that I've never known before. This is fantastic that it's being exposed on the show. I love it.
My favorite poop urban legend is the fact that so back when the Clique was all in WWF at the time, so right around the time that Jerry Lawler first got to WWF, the Clique was a thing, right? Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Razor Ramon, X-Pac, and X-Pac. I've been talking about Neville too much. X-Pac and Triple H, right? So they're all this little backstage political clique, and everyone hates them. And apparently when Lawler first got to WWF, they just pissed him off. And one of the guys that was kind of a tertiary member of the clique was Mr. Perfect. And Mr. Perfect was a notorious ribber, right? He was messing with everybody. And poop in bags was a common thing. Well, according to urban legend, as a way to get back at King for being a dick to them, they apparently, how shall I put this? They gave him a little something in his crown. Because remember, at the time, like, his crown was the crown, but then it had like the little velvet thing on top.
Yeah.
So apparently they messed with his crown and left him a present in his crown.
So there was a turd in his crown.
There was a turd in his crown. That is the urban legend. And all I can imagine is, like, if that was played well, like, he puts it on his head accidentally, and you sons of bitches! They never would have done this to me in Memphis. Puppies.
So, right.
Yeah, there you go. That's a bunch of urban legends for you.
Since you brought up the Stephanie one, I'll throw in one of my favorite storylines that I've said here on the show is the whole, did Triple H really marry Stephanie in Vegas out from under test? Was all of that just a thing?
Right.
I don't know if that's even urban legend anymore, but it is one of my favorite kind of storylines that they've used in the past. She does not have a good history in the WWE. Jericho tearing her down, Rock tearing her down, all of that stuff. So, yeah. I
love the urban legends where, like, who got into a legit fight with who and who knocked who out. You know what I mean? Like the one where Goldberg and Jericho got into it, and Jericho got Goldberg in a headlock and took him down. The one that I think has been confirmed where Kurt Angle beat Brock Lesnar in a shoot wrestling match backstage. Norman Smiley getting into a fight with Steiner and knocking him out.
Right.
The one that also has been confirmed where Sid Vicious stabbed, I think it was Arn Anderson like a ton of times in a hotel. There's stuff like that. That's always like, wow, that's crazy. Like who's like a legit tough guy? Or oh God, Haku, freaking Meng, dude. The urban legends about that guy, him and the stories about Andre's drinking, right? Those are fantastic. I could do a whole show just on like Meng, Haku horror stories, like the stuff that he's done in legit fights, right?
You mentioned Andre the Giant, like his whole documentary was like what was it? No, it was the Ric Flair 30 for 30 thing. How many urban legends do we have about Ric Flair out drinking with people?
Yeah,
and like Andre just naked. Drinking 100 beers.
My favorite Andre urban legend is the one where some guys were pissing him off in a bar, hitting on his girl or whatever. And he chases them all out to the parking lot. They hop into a Volkswagen, and he flips the Volkswagen, goes back inside, and finishes his bottle of wine. Like, that's one of my favorites. Like, just imagining this giant, what do you think you're doing? Chasing them out to the parking lot and flipping your car while you're in it. I love that one. But no, man. Like, Haku, dude. All of the stories about him and so many wrestlers, you know, they buy in, they play into it, where you just imagine this is the most terrifying guy ever. And some of these, I'm imagining, like the one where he like reaches in and just rips the guy's jaw off, or he rips the guy's eye out in a fight in a bar. What was the one who like I'm trying to remember who told the story, if it was Kevin Sullivan or who it was, talking about Haku reaching in and ripping off, like puts his hand into a guy's mouth, and he pulls off his lower teeth. Like just pulls off a bunch of his lower teeth with his hand.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sticking his finger into a guy's eye socket and just pulling out the eyeball in a fight.
Oh.
Like Haku is like, that's his urban legend. Jake the Snake famously went on record and said that he was the scariest guy he'd ever met. I love how Snake put it, where he goes, if I'm in a tank at 300 yards and I've got him dead to rights, right? Like I should be able to just kill him. I'm going to get out of the tank and I'm going to shoot myself in the head, because if I miss and I piss him off, he's going to hurt me in ways I can't even imagine. So
I was just looking some of them up because I wanted to go through and look at them. And the one that I wanted to, there's two of them that I wanted to call out. A quick one is the one around Superstar Billy Graham drinking Clorox.
Oh, the bleach.
The bleach.
Yes.
And the other one that I had forgotten about, which is I would have said is my favorite had I not forgotten about it, was Sid Vicious keeping a squirrel in his pants. He had a pet squirrel, and it was some kind of dare.
They dared him to put it down his pants for 60 seconds, and it bit his junk.
Yeah, so he ended up at the hospital
before a match because he had a squirrel in his junk. Oh my God!
Where'd they get a squirrel?
He had a pet squirrel.
I know.
Why not? It's Sid.
I know.
He's nuts.
Oh, man.
Look what you've done,
I know.
Esmeralda.
I know. You started this, Esme. It's all your fault.
What are your favorites? Let's list everyone that ever has been.
Right.
How about that?
We can do a whole show on just some of the urban legends that are in and around wrestling. That's fantastic.
Oh.
Well, guys, thank you very much for all of your questions, as you guys always deliver every single week. It's one of the reasons we ultimately decided to break this show out into its own series called the Patron Mailbag, because it needed the time and attention. And so thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to keep this ball rolling, and it's going to be its own dedicated series right here on YouTube. We might delay the upload of the audio. So if you're listening to this and you want to get this sooner, head over to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/bustedwideopen to get it as soon as it's available. Or, hey, join us for the live stream immediately after the main show that happens at 3 p.m. Eastern on every single Saturday. So, yes, Patron Mailbag, its own dedicated series on YouTube. Come join us in the Busted Wide Open discussion group, as well as our Discord server. You want to be in there for all of the live chats for all of our shows, as well as the pay-per-views. And unfortunately, I have to advertise that the next one's going to be Crown Jewel, coming up on October 31st, which is a week from Thursday. You can be in there for the live chat for that if you decide to watch it. If not, we got you covered here on the Busted Wide Open podcast. We'll bring you anything relevant and the breakdown as we always do. In addition, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. and, of course, our patrons. You guys that send in the questions that make this whole series possible.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your patronage and for your support of this show.
Thank you, guys.
And if you want to get in on some of that and be able to ask your own questions every single week for just $5 a month, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO or find the link down in the description below. Sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers. You get access to bonus episodes, show notes, the ability to ask listener questions, Skype calls with Sir Nick and Sir Ian Dangerous once a month. They're fantastic up at the $50 tier. There's all kinds of good rewards for you over at patreon.com/BWO. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But my God! Would somebody stop the damn Mac?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.